cinema created by she, her. How we doing out there? Good, great, great. Hey, Yan. Hey, Yan. Wonderful. As you see on your screen, your dial, however, you are choosing to join me today. I don't know why you are. It's the worst podcast in the history of podcasts. Yeah. In terms of content, production value, the whole nine, the worst podcast in the history of podcasts. Ugh, you could be listening to something else, something better. Certainly better than this. Certainly better than this. All right, so as you see on your screen there, I Spit on Your Grave, the OG, the 1978, I believe. Is that when this came out, 1978? Yeah. So, fun fact for the horror fans, and I mean, I'm just a fan of film, so I don't lean towards any genre in particular. I do like horror films, have seen a lot of horror films, probably rivals the amount of, drama I've seen or what have you. Doesn't matter. I have never seen the OG I Spit on Your Grave. Yes, I know. Everybody recoils. And you call yourself a film fan and you haven't. No, I have not. I heard what I heard about it and I was just like, not interested. In fact, you can do the bloodiest, the goriest, the grossest shit on screen, and I will be okay. The absolute worst, and I will be okay. The sexual stuff, it's very hard for a man of my ilk to. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it, not one bit. And, well, for those of you that don't know, because I know I have some youngins that listen to, for those of you that don't know about I Spit on Your Grave, well, it's a 1978 American rape and revenge horror film. Rape and revenge horror film, written and directed and even edited by Meir Zarchi. Meir Zarchi. It stars Camille Keaton, Eron Tabor, Richard Pace, Antony Nichols, and Gunter Kleemann. I'm sure Gunter's probably, but we're going to say Gunter Kleemann. The film tells the story of Jennifer Hills, a fiction writer based in New York City who exacts revenge on each of her tormentors after 4 men gang rape her and leave her for dead. I feel that's... I counted 3. 3 in a bottle. Yep. Yeah, I was hesitant to talk about that. I mean, I don't give a fuck in the overall scheme of I don't whatever, but just because this is my show, but this one and the direct sequel, which came out 30 years later, 20 years, 40 years later, because I think I Spit on Your Grave Deja Vu came out in 2019, and we'll get there, because I'm actually, that's the next episode. I do this thing where I like to torment myself, and I looked at, these were sent to me, the I Spit on Your Grave OG, and then Deja Vu, which there was a couple, I think there was 3 or 4 made in between these, but they weren't sequels, they had no relation, blah, blah, blah. And the first and the last do have, Camille is in the second one. Anyway, I watched them back to back. Yeah, so that's a lot of rape for me in one day. It's a little too much for someone who just, I'm not going to say I detest it, because at the end of the day, it's a movie. I'm not one of these people just I can't believe, no, I don't, you'll never hear me say that. There are things that I like to watch, and then there's things that I don't like to watch. And, well, this would be right up the alley of what I just kind of, there's only so much time in a day. Why would you do that? Why would you torment yourself like that? Well, somebody was nice enough to send it to me, so I should be nice enough to fucking use this shitty platform to fucking talk about it. So our players, as it were, Camille Keaton, Jennifer Hills is played by Camille Keaton. Johnny's played by Eron Tabor, fucking detestable Johnny. Matthew is played by Richard Pace. Matthew, the learning disabled learning disabled man that partakes in the non-consensuals, as it were. Non-consensuals. Stanley is played by Antony Nichols. Andy is played by Gunter Kleemann. Andy was hateable too. Well, they're all fucking detestable. Just hard to watch. And this movie is trashed based on how. All right, so I said this writer goes out in the woods, correct? Correct. To finish her novel, start her novel. These four men start harassing her, and the lack of score, there is no score in this, makes it even more uneasy and sometimes tough to watch. But I go back and forth, like in terms of the technicalities of deception. In terms of a technical aspect, I go back and forth between where it helped and hurt. Like, sometimes it just made the film bad, and then sometimes the lack of score, it enhanced how uncomfortable and eerie it was. All right? So, there I am, and I'm driving along now. They start harassing her, and, we're not, I don't know, maybe half hour in. And it starts out with they want to get Matthew, who's, I guess, just kind of like the one that just gets made fun of in the group. They keep him around because he's lesser than. He's mentally defective, mildly though, because motherfucker still knows what he's doing. It starts out with them talking, and they want Matthew to get laid because he had just mentioned that he happened to see Jennifer bathing in the lake topless, and he saw her boobs, and he mentions it to the boys, and then he says, well, we're gonna get you laid. Well, it turns out get you laid means hold down this woman and have her not consent to sexuals. But here's the thing, when they hold her down, Matthew, the whole thing that is for Matthew, well, he doesn't get to go first. Johnny does. That shit was uncomfortable. Matthew can't do it when people are around, so she kind of, as they're debating why Matthew won't do it and telling him to go on and do it, like, this is what we brought her here for, Jennifer slumps away, and I kind of think that they're just going to let her be. Like, I was like, oh, well, that was pretty rough to watch. But, yes, of course I have to be fucked up. But, wasn't so bad. That was no Irreversible, for those of you in the crowd that know what I'm talking about, a Francais film, if you've seen Irreversible. If you haven't, well, it's what I had seen the first part of I Spit on Your Grave. Not so bad. It's, uncomfortable, but this is a movie. I'm supposed to hate these people, right? Well, you want to know how I'll hate them? A brutal rape scene is how I will hate the characters. Well, she walks off, right? Just naked, beaten, bloody, shocked. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, I mean, I'm glad it's over. It's out of the way. I can see why she's going to kill all these people. Because, again, even though I haven't seen this movie, I know, well, one, you've seen enough movies, especially films of this age. You know this is how this is going to go. And not maybe what's going to happen, but you know the end game. So, I was like, all right, well, no, they're all going to die. Oh, no. After a few minutes of walking, you hear a harmonica in the distance. And, well, she gets to kind of a clearing in the forest. Still forest, but Andy's sitting on a rock playing his harmonica. And then Johnny comes into frame. Then Stanley comes into frame. Well, they put her on a rock, and Andy engages in non-consensual. And I gotta be honest, that one was rough. One, I thought it was over, and two, the way that Camille Keaton screams in that scene is it's downright. She is amazing in this. She is amazing. You could say what you want about the film, and most of the critics did agree that Camille Keaton, who plays Jennifer, did a great job. But holy fuck, when she screamed, like it, dudes and dudettes out there, it shook my core. It shook my very core. I was so uncomfortable. So, like, I already hate that shit to begin with. And between what Andy's doing and how he's, miming, how he's acting, how he is doing as an actor, between that and her screams, fuck, dude. I was just like, what am I doing? This is it was like, what? It was a Tuesday at like 11 a.m. Like, what the fuck, dude? Anywho. So, all right. We made it, right? We fucking made it. Oh, no. No. When she gets back to the house, they're waiting for her. By now, Matthew has got some drinks in him. Matthew, the mentally disabled man. Got some drinks in him. And after, I'm pretty sure it's after, or maybe it's before, I don't know, both are a blur, but I'm going to fucking say, but I want you to hear the disgust in my voice. It was either before or after Matthew gets his turn in with some non-consensuals, but he, you know what, we're going to do it. He can't come because everyone's watching, so he stops. They make fun of him and razz him off. Now, Stanley, I think it's over again. I think it's over. For me, all right, we're done here. Oh, there's more. Stanley takes the bottle that he's been drinking on and, bottle. We'll just say a bottle. Non-consensual bottle. And I gotta tell you, members of the audience, I wasn't ashamed of myself. I would never be ashamed for unless it's, you know, like some of the American guinea pig stuff or whatever, and only ashamed because of how much of I could be spending my time doing it. I wasn't ashamed what I was watching, but I didn't feel like being there, and I get it. That's the point. So all you fucking horror fans, relax. Like, you're supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I know it is. I'm just at an age where I don't need to do, I don't mind being uncomfortable. I don't need to be that type of uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can do Asian films all day fucking make me uncomfortable, you know? Like, I don't, but it, I just don't like the non-consensual sexuals. Not a fan. You can make me hate you in other ways. I'm not saying it's not an effective tool. It is, because I wanted all of them to die, and I wanted them to die early. And by them, I mean fucking Johnny, Matthew, Stanley, and Andy. Wanted them dead as fuck. You know, anyway. So there was a bottle, and then they leave. They leave her there. But as they're at their boat, they discuss, well, we can't leave her alive, right? She's going to tell someone. I should mention Stanley, after the whole bottle thing, now that I mentioned it 3 fucking times, he punches her and he kicks her, and it's brutal. It's not okay. It was fucking brutal. So they get back to the boat, like, hey, should we leave her alive? I don't know. That's probably a bad idea, don't you think, man? Man? We probably shouldn't do that. Hey, Matthew, you got to be the one that does it. Here's my knife. Johnny gives Matthew his knife, and he's like, well, I don't want to do it. And he's like, well, you can't hang out with us anymore unless you go kill that woman. And Matthew, apprehensive, fucking does it anyway. Goes in, does not stab her, merely wipes some of the blood that is on her on the blade of the knife and leaves. She recovers. There is hate in her eyes, well played by Camille Keaton. Hate in her heart and in her eyes, her heart in her eyes. She gets better. She gets a little bit better each day. She goes to she patches herself up and the ripped pages of her book. That was another scene that had happened where they're reading some of the pages that she typed out for her new book, mocking her, and then I believe it's Andy that rips it up into a bunch of pieces and throws it on the ground, whatever. Well, she pieces those back together, much like her soul, or I mean that may never be able to be pieced back together, but. She begins to write. She looks a little bit better. She's not as bruised up and shit. And, well, it's go time. It's fucking go time. So earlier in the film, one of the first things we see, she gets groceries delivered to her by Matthew. That's how we first meet Matthew, is groceries delivered to her. So fast forward after the non-consensual, and she orders groceries again. And here's how you know that Matthew is not a complete mental defective. Because when he finds out that he's got to go take groceries to that address again, he knows. He knows the shit. Like, shit ain't right. And I say to you, Matthew, fictional character, why did you go forward with the non-consensuals if you knew it was wrong? You knew it was wrong, fictional, not real character. Why did you go ahead and do it? Anyway, so he goes. And he's not fucking around. Like, he gets there and he pulls out a knife and he's just like, hey, I gotta fucking kill you because everybody hates me now because of you. They all found out that you were alive and fucking now they hate me, so I gotta stab you now. And Jennifer seduces him. Gets him to where he's kind of naked. He may or may not even have, like, came. I couldn't tell. I was very confused at Jennifer's decisions in these moments. I understand that she wanted to take them to their ecstasy before, the inevitable, but I think you can skip that given what they did to you. You can skip any pleasantries, let alone this LD, this mentally disabled kid, grown man, flopping around on you naked. And then I started to think maybe the shit was fucking her, maybe she was damaged down there, but it's not explicitly said. So I don't know. I was just confused. I was confused by the choices that were made. But ultimately it ends up while he's flopping around getting his rocks off, right? She slips a noose around his neck and then hangs him. Now, I know Matthew's LD, but I don't know how, having sex or not, you weren't alarmed when a giant noose went around your neck. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, so she chokes him to his death, hangs him while his fucking pants are at his ankles. Fucking hang the LD kid, LD man. I'm still confused by the choices leading up to it, though. It's just like, wait a minute, what? Who's next on the list? I believe it's Johnny. Yeah, I think it's Johnny. So she seduces Johnny a little bit. Johnny's dumb fuck ass thinks that she was into it. She was into the NC non-consensuals. Well, she gets him alone. Another thing perplexing. They drive out in the middle of nowhere. No one around. She has him at gunpoint. She stops. As he begs for his life, she stops. She takes him, but Jennifer takes Johnny, back to her cabin. And now they're naked in the bathroom. And I'm wondering what's happening with these choices. You had him dead to rights with your gun. Oh, you wanted to play with him for a little bit. Okay, I understand that. I mean, this dude needed to be in a chair while you were pulling his fingernails off like yesterday. Why are you holding the gun and now he's naked in your bathtub? He's naked in your bathtub. And then she gets in. She starts stroking his dick. And I'm just like, these are some decisions are being made right now. And I am perplexed. However, it does end with Johnny getting his dick cut off in the bathtub. So that was fine. And here's the thing. I'm all for it. Cut dicks off, right? That doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. I just was... what did bother me is how long we waited till we got there. Jennifer, fictional character. Jennifer, not real character. You waited too long. You played with this man. Wow. He needed to know what it's like. He needed to, be at his, most happy, and then I'll fucking kill him. Yeah, I hear you, but I'm thinking a little bit more torture. A little bit more torture, you think? No, huh? Well, Stanley and Andy must die too, don't you think? I believe she gets the boat. She gets the boat away from Stanley because she fucking comes up out of the fucking lake like Creature from the Black Lagoon, like out of goddamn nowhere, and takes the boat from Stanley. I believe the axe that they brought to kill her, she, with full speed of the boat, and to that point, I thought she was going to run somebody over the boat. Never did. I was kind of perplexed by that. We pretended like we were, like, for 5 whole minutes, and I was like, just run somebody over with the boat already. God damn it. I believe Andy meets his demise with an axe to the back. She almost like lanced it. Like, so she's in a boat. She's got one hand on the prop, right? Controlling, steering the boat. She's got one arm raised with an axe, and she goes full speed and axes Andy in the back while he's in the water. No easy task, I tell you. Not that I've ever done it before, but I would have to. The laws of physics would indicate that's a tough play. One more understandable was how Stanley meets his demise, which, for God knows what fucking reason, Stanley climbs on the back of the prop. Doesn't go to the side of the boat. None of that. Doesn't go to the front of the boat. Nope. Goes exactly where the propeller is. Puts his arms up on top of the fucking prop, right? And he's like, please don't kill me. And she's like, well, suck it, bitch. I believe that's exactly what she says. And then she turns the boat on, and she propellers his fucking dick and stomach, I would assume. These are some terrible decisions all around. Heroine and fucking villain. This terrible decisions. So endeth the rape. So endeth the non-consensuals. Check this out, though. This is a release by Ronin Flicks. No. Ronin Films. Ronin Flicks. Yeah, Ronin Flicks. Anyway. Great new... I mean, the fucking transfer was badass. Of course, I listened to the commentary with Joe Bob Briggs. Also has a commentary with writer-director Meir Zarchi. It has a making of The Values of Vengeance. Meir Zarchi remembers I Spit on Your Grave. Has an alternate main title. A location featurette. And, yeah. The transfer was good. For being a movie that came out in 78, they definitely did the transfer good. So, if you listen to this one, I don't know why you would listen to it, but if you listen to this one, we got another non-consensual film coming. I'm doing back-to-back on this because it just makes sense. What I'm going to do, fucking I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu, 5 episodes from now? That don't make no sense, does it? Does it, sport? No, it doesn't. That was a tough one for me to do. I do like myself a horror film, and this was indeed a horror film. But, ooh. Ooh. Yeah, and I'm actually kind of surprised for how desensitized I fucking am. I am actually kind of surprised at still how hard it hit for me. I will give it that. Because, whoa. Or just because I don't watch any of that stuff, so I barely get to see it. I Spit on Your Grave, Ronin Flicks release. Great transfer. This woman has just cut, chopped, broken, and burned 5 men. That's not true. It's 4 men. Beyond recognition. And nobody was burned. It's hilarious what they put on these covers. Nobody was burned. But no jury in America would ever convict her. I Spit on Your Grave, Day of the Woman. Day of the Woman. Ella Cinema. Highway God.